Is Flight Reacts really the worst basketball player ever? Good old Flight. Everyone knows him. He's not only the most athletic basketball player out there, but he's the most skilled and he's the highest IQ. They say look at Curry, man, but I say look at Flight Reacts. Who is Zion Williamson and Giannis Antetokounmpo compared to him? Alright, but jokes aside, today we're talking about Flight Reacts. Before we get into the video, I just want to let you know that I think Flight is a great YouTuber. He's really good at entertaining people, but that is the limit to his greatness. When it comes to basketball, Flight is literally worse than a 14-year-old. No, I mean literally. Hey, what's up you guys? It's TMB Productions back at it with another vid. So the other day, my friend and I were talking about Flight Reacts himself. Apparently, he states that by 2022, he'll be a top-tier NBA prospect. So I decided to take some time to analyze Flight's game and the percentages that he has to make the NBA. Before we dive into the percentages, let me inform those who don't know about Flight Reacts. This clip literally sums up half of Flight's YouTube channel.
Are we talking?
Going to sophomore year.
Stop!
My mans is literally communicating with dolphins. But let's get right into it. Flight has decent NBA size. He's 6'3", but that's about all he has going for him. By the way he looks, I would infer that he weighs closer to 160 pounds, and let's just say he has average athleticism. When it comes to skill, Flight has one of the worst overall games I've seen. His ball handling is like a 9-year-old who just learned how to do the behind the back, and his footwork is atrocious. When I analyzed his game, I realized that Flight was really uncoordinated and awkward. It's clear he doesn't know which sequence of steps he should use in any given scenario. Not only that, but when handling the ball, instead of really moving his body to sell the move, he just awkwardly shuffles his feet around, thinking he is selling a fake. His defensive footwork is equally as bad. He's never in a low, athletic defensive stance, and he doesn't know how to force a player in one direction. For example, when facing off against Cheesaholic, in which Cheesaholic went left the entire game, Flight was told to force him right. A second after that play, Cheesaholic blew past him on the left side once again. Not only that, but he doesn't contain any defensive IQ whatsoever. It's rare when Flight gets a steal, and not only that, he makes stupid defensive plays. Like in this one clip, Flight turns his entire body around 360 degrees and gives up a layup instead of cutting off his man. Flight doesn't understand basic defensive rules either. Like every hooper has been taught since they were a kid that when you play defense, you look at the opponent's waist. Flight just looks at the ball most of the time, and that's why he always gets crossed. Like, I'm being serious. If he just implemented looking at his defender's waist, Flight would have the potential to be a great defensive player. To be honest, we can never be mad at hustle, especially Flight. He always gives it his all. But sometimes I feel like it's a bit too much. Like, look at this play against the Bone Collector. Instead of accepting the fact he got crossed, he tries to block Bone. And instead of reading the obvious pump fake, he goes flying in the air and embarrasses himself even more. When talking about Flight's reaction time, I feel like Cash Nasty puts it best.
What type of reaction is that? Look at this! Who closed their legs up after somebody put the ball through there? Dog, you got zero reactions, dog. You should, bro, we don't need to call you Flight Reacts. We need to call you Flight Delay, bro.
And now let's go back to Flight's offensive skills, or should I say lack thereof. Flight is very right-handed, and when I say very, I mean he literally has no left hand. You would have to pay this man $5 million and schedule him a playdate with Steph Curry before he would go left. Not only that, but his ball handling is so bad and limited that he can't look up to get his shot off. This usually results in him chucking the ball up with his Tyrannosaurus basketball form without his feet set. This allows for the perfect combination for an air ball, and when he does make it, he celebrates as if he hit the game-winning shot of the NBA Finals. Plus, Flight is 6'3", and with his size, you'd think he would post up anyone he plays, but Flight suffers from a sad disorder of being built like a Cheeto. This means that Flight usually chucks up threes and little running floater hook thingies. I don't even know what to call them. Sometimes these go in, but usually his shot is either too rushed or uncoordinated and he misses. I'll give Flight some respect because his jump shot has been improving and who knows how good that jumper can be by June. To sum up Flight's offensive skills, it's easy. He's a player who likes to shoot, but he can't. He can't do any semi-complex dribble while moving, and he has a very, very poor basketball IQ. Like I said, no hate on Flight. He is still one of my favorite entertainers, but he should just stay away from the game of basketball. He says he's really good at football, so he should just go play that. I honestly find it hilarious that Flight thinks he is really good at the game and even has a shot at the NBA, but who knows, he could be joking for all we know. With Flight's analysis out of the way, let's talk stats and percentages. According to the Legend of Winning, Flight has a record of 9-34. Now that means 9 wins and 34 losses. His worst game was against BLU when he went 0 for 20 and was scoreless. Once again, according to the Legend of Winning, Flight has made 184 out of 790 shots. This is 23.3%. Out of 790 shots, 444 of them were 3-point attempts. That has over 55% of the amount of shots he has taken. What's worse is that he only made 17.63% from 3. Basically, Flight averages 6 points a game on 23% field goal shooting. That also means he averages a whopping 18 shots per game. Also, shout out once more to Legend of Winning for putting together this spreadsheet you see on the screen. Yes, take that in. This is a whole lot of L's. But I'm not here just to talk about Flight's stats. I wanted to talk about his chances of making it to the league. For any regular high school hooper, the chances of making it to a D1 college is very slim. If you take that there are 550,000 high school hoopers and you take into consideration that only 4,500 people make it D1, you'll realize that you only have a 0.81% chance of going D1. Assuming that your best chance to make it to the league is to the NBA draft, then you realize that only 60 of those select 4,500 people make it to the league. This means you only have a 0.013% chance of making it to the NBA as a regular high school hooper. And this is for high school hoopers who are actually on a team and are still young. Flight is 24 years old and he isn't on any sort of basketball team. Basically what I'm saying is that Flight has closer to a 0.00013% chance of making the NBA, and the chances he even averages a point are very slim. But let's say this. Let's say that Flight somehow did get past all these odds and made it to the NBA. He got drafted by his favorite team, of course the Golden State Warriors. How would he do? I began to set up my extensive experiment by logging into 2K and downloading a roster that Flight had on the Warriors. After a little tweaking, we began to simulate his rookie season. To sum it up, he went scoreless except for the final game in which he scored a bucket. This led him to average 0.4 points per game, which is better than most of us. After that though, he got moved down to the G League and I was unable to simulate the rest of his career. Anyway guys, that wraps it up. I want to give one final shout out to the Legend of Winning because I hugely piggyback off his research. I hope that you guys can get Flight to watch this video so that maybe he'll snap out of his illusions. For the last time, I love Flight's videos, but this video was just bound to happen. Anyway, it's Ish from TMB Productions signing off.